Hello and welcome to GregTech New Horizons. In today's episode, we will be exploring the world, crafting our very first tools, and crafting our very first coke oven. So without further ado, let's get into it. So there is a village over here, that's good. We're going to head over to that. And just by looking at the quest book, our first task is to get 8 dirt. So let's do just that. And just like that, your first night. Cool. And we get a free apple. Not going to worry about that right now. Now we just have a bunch of random quests that give us a little bit of helpful information. Well, that wasn't really needed, but we know a little bit about this pack. Now, sticks and stones, where we need to gather 9 gravel, 5 oak logs, as well as 2 more oak logs. Huh. Alrighty, let's do that, and chop down this tree first. And there we go, just like that. Tree chopped down. And now all we need is 9 gravel. So, let's go raid this village and see if we can find some gravel. And just like that, there's the 9 gravel, and sticks and stones complete. Cool. Now we need 3 flint, and we can get that by putting our gravel into our little inventory crafter to get 3 flint. Now with that done, we need to make a crafting table, and that is 2 flint and 2 logs. We now have our first crafting table. Let's raid this village while we're here. Now, we did find a tinker smeltery, which this will be very useful, probably about next episode, so we're going to definitely come back to this. But let's see if we can find anything else useful in this village. Well, unfortunate as it is, we did not find anything else of use in this village. Now, there is a bee area, but unfortunately, I do not believe that these will be useful to us anytime soon. So we're just going to leave them there and try and continue on with our quests. And moving on, we need to check that box and get our very first tools, which are going to be wooden tools. So let's get those crafted up. And just like that, we got all of our tools. Next is moving down the line to get some cobblestone. And now that we're down here, we're going to collect up some cobblestone. And just like that, 64 cobblestone, and get that stone, quest completed. Now, let's make a sword, because I have a feeling that it's going to be becoming nighttime very soon. And just like that, there's a sword. Time to strike. Our next goal is to be getting a bed. So that is going to require a soft mallet and 6 wool. The soft mallet is very easy, but we just need a little bit of wood. And we might as well get the wool while we're out there. And now we are stuck sitting inside of a house because there are mobs outside and I don't want to die, so we're going to sit in here until the storm passes and or it is the next day. What a poor villager. Just getting beaten up. And alrighty, now that it is daytime, we are going to make our escape. Well, that happened. Alrighty, now that we got that back, let's go finish collecting up the wool and wood. Alrighty, that is the wool. Now let's get the wood. Alrighty, that should be plenty enough wood, so let's step right over here into this cave and get to crafting. First off, we are going to need our soft mallet, which is easy enough to do. We just need 6 planks and a stick, and boom, there is the soft mallet. Now, our inventory is very full, so let's make sure that we do have room to make our very first bed. We have the fences, and we should be able to craft our first bed. There we go. So now we'll never have to worry about nighttime ever again. Now, for the rest of this episode, I was thinking to make our first goal of this guide is to get into the Stone Age and make our very first coke oven. So, let's get to doing that. First, we are going to click this checkbox and head over. We are going to need 128 sand, 128 gravel, 128 clay, and 25 stone. Well, we're going to do all that, but first let's find a place to settle. So, let's go run around and see where we're going to settle.
2,000 years later.
Well, happy travelers, welcome to our new humble abode. This is where we are going to be staying for the foreseeable future, and we've actually got quite a nice area. We have a nice river full of clay, a sand right over here for desert. Where are we going to get the gravel? Who knows? And we're really not that far from spawn, so that is really cool. We've also got a nice terracotta area over there, which is going to be great for clay once we get a little more into the Steam Age. So yeah, now let's continue our quest for collecting our very first coke oven. And just like that, that is all the clay gathered. Now let's get the sand and gravel. And that is all the gravel, but then again, messing up the shoreline right next to my house probably was not the smartest idea. Well, let's go get the sand from somewhere that isn't the shoreline. And just like that, that was all of the sand. So now let's head back to the base and craft up this coke oven. Alrighty, and just like that, that is going to be our basic processing of 25 stone. Then we are going to make 2 mortars, and we are going to make a few buckets. And to do that, we need clay dust. And just like that, that is going to be our 2 unfired clay buckets. Now all we gotta do is put them in a furnace, and they will get all fired up, and then we can continue on with questing. Alrighty, now that those are heated up, our next quest is going to be making paper. And we already made the wood pulp, which is just a mortar and a log. To get the paper, we do 8 and a bucket of water. So let's get that up and running. And just like that, 16 paper in the bag. Now, let's move on to making our first Tinker's workbenches. And there, and there. And that is all 4 Tinker's stations that we will ever need. And that now allows us to make Tinker's tools, which will upgrade our tools. And let's do that by making our very first few blank patterns. So let's go get the blank patterns and then create these 4. Alrighty, and just like that, we now have our 4 blank patterns. So let's make the things we will need. We will need a tool binding pattern, a pickaxe head, a shovel head, and an axe head. Now we come over to this part builder and we build those all out of flint. Now that we've got those 3 out of flint, we need to make the binding out of wood. So what we're going to do is put the binding in there. We'll get the extra stick. And while we are here, let's, oh, well, I didn't need to do that, but let's make those sticks. Come over to our tool station and craft up the flint pickaxe, the flint axe, and the flint shovel. And just like that, we now have not only new tools, but repairable tools. And also faster, so that we no longer have to worry about wood. And just like that, we can now start making our first coke oven, and that is going to need a wooden form press, or a wooden form. So let's make that. And just like that, that is our wooden form. So now moving on from that, we need 104 unfired coke oven bricks. And to make that 104, we need 175 sand and 105 clay, which, if I am correct, we are missing 15 sand. And now that we have that extra 15 sand, we are going to make 105 unfired coke oven bricks. Now all we have to do is smelt them up, and once they're smelted up, we will make our very first blast furnace. And just like that, we take our coke oven bricks right over here, put them in the 2x2 format, get 26 coke oven bricks, and now all we gotta do is clear out a little space, and for right now, just since this is a little temporary shack, we're going to build it right here. And you do this, leave the middle open, and now you have a coke oven, and all you do is put logs in, and in 90 seconds, now you have charcoal. And then, in another 270 seconds, we have 4 charcoal, which will complete the quest. Finally, some powerful fuel. And with that completed, the last thing we are going to do this episode is check this box right here, come over to Upgrade 2.0, submit 4 stacks of cobblestone, get an iron pickaxe head and an iron axe head, click claim, head right over here to our tool station, fix up our tools, then upgrade our tools, and now, after all is done, we have iron tools, a coke oven, and a little humble abode. Thank you, travelers, for tuning in on this episode of PerPlur's Makeshift Guide to GregTech New Horizons. And don't forget, if you want to see more, click that subscribe button, and we'll see you in the next one. Later!